players. Do the Cubs even have one?
You are Locked On Cubs, your daily Chicago Cubs podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are Locked On Cubs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Alongside Sam Olber, I'm Matt Cozy. Sam and I are lifelong fans, taking our passion into a discussion with you on all things Cubs. Thank you for being part of the show and making us your first listen today. And the best way you can help us grow the show is to listen every day, like the video, and comment anything below. Today's episode is presented by our great partners at Prize Picks. Download the app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB to win $50 instantly when you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game. Hey, thanks for being with us. Another great week of shows here on Locked On Cubs. Despite the excitement in baseball right now, it truly is a buffer period for all the other teams. And I really appreciate your listenership and viewership throughout this time, making us the number one place to talk Cubs. Sam, hope you're doing well, and we're going to finish the week strong here.
Let's get to it.
So today we are going to discuss the current Cubs roster and basically how big of a draw they are. There's going to be some terminology we use here. One is Q rating, which is, how well liked a person is by the public, popularity, whether it's jersey sales, billboards, sponsorship deals, brand equity. I like the idea of this conversation, but I wonder in the next 10 minutes if I'm going to walk away, feeling good or not.
Wow.
What do you think about the Cubs' current Q rating? And
yeah,
we know as a franchise they have that and then some.
Sure.
But at the individual level, I think it's more of the same with between the lines. They have a lot of nice candidates that are in the mix, but there's no one that's part of the conversation that can really drive that train.
Yeah, I think it's two different conversations. I think there's hey, is there a face of the franchise conversation? And then there's also, hey, who are the most liked guys? Who are the guys that I think are the most offended or the most appreciated on the Cubs? So let's start with the latter. So for me, just thinking about this episode today, there were really three guys that I think separate themselves in terms of hey, if they get traded, there's going to be people that are upset. And maybe I'm wrong about this.
Okay.
I think Steele's number one. I think Steele's has the number one Q rating on the Cubs. I think he is. I think if you pooled everybody in combination with everything, because I think there's a little longevity. I don't have Imanaga on my list because he's only been there a year. I think there's a little bit of longevity. I think Hap's on there. I think Hap's really liked in the Cubs community. And I think Horner's still probably third, just because those three guys I just think have been there the longest and people identify with them. Not saying I agree or disagree with it, but I think those are the three guys, in my opinion, that have the highest Q rating, the highest likability. I think PCA's coming. I think Imanaga by this time next year could be in the top two. I don't think Swanson's there. I don't think that. Maybe you have a different opinion on that. Bush is up there too, but I think those guys, they've been there the longest. I think people respect them and what they've done. But the other side of it is that they don't have a guy that you run and go, hey, get me that jersey. PCA will be the first Cubs jersey I've bought, in this decade. I think he's trending there, but they don't have a guy where you throw it up in the billboard and go, that's our guy. They don't have a face of the franchise. I think Steele's the closest, but it's also really hard for that to be a pitcher. Even when they had Lester and Arrieta, at the end of the day, it's hard to have a face that only plays once a week. It needs to be every single day to sell the tickets and things like that. And with all due respect to Ian Happ, with all due respect to PCA, all those guys right now, it's not close. They don't have one.
Well, and it's so different. It's just so different in baseball. I agree about the pitcher part of it, but even I think it's an uphill battle for a position player. If you compare it to basketball, another game that really well.
Sure.
You go to a Lakers game, LeBron he's likely, like, you're going to see him get 20 and 10.
Yep.
You go to a Dodgers game, Ohtani could go 4 for 4, but he also could go 0 for 4 with the golden sombrero.
That's a good point.
And so for that reason, I feel like brand equity and star power in baseball actually matters even more, because that person can withstand a bad game or 2 or 10. There was only 7 Cubs, Sam, that I wrote down.
That's a great point. Just hang on. Let's acknowledge that, because that's a great point. And it goes back to the Sosa thing, right? Like, he's a good example. It matters more in baseball because it's so much more rare, where it's like,
totally.
Even if, and I think soccer in a way is similar to this too, where it's like, how many times have I lined up to watch Messi play where he hasn't scored a goal or he hasn't done anything? But the times that it does, it makes that even more special. So you run to the TV to watch that guy hit, and it's like, all right, he didn't do it this time. But Aaron Judge today hits a huge homer, and for whatever reason, it lifts you even more. Go ahead.
So different, yeah. So there's only 7 Cubs that I wrote down that even sniff the convo here.
Mm-hmm.
And you mentioned them all. So I didn't put them in an order, but I like that you did that. So Happ, Suzuki, Horner, Swanson, Steele, Imanaga, and PCA, and that's it. And I think Imanaga is really growing. Mm-hmm. He was on the cover of Chicago Magazine in September. There's that place across Wrigley Field. Swanson's everywhere. Happ with his branding outside of the stadium
and his longevity.
Yeah, but I just think, and then I think PCA really right now is in a category by himself, and he's really the one to keep an eye on.
Agree.
Because if you were to ask the question, which we have, and you've answered it, whose jersey would you buy first?
It's that.
It would Steele and Imanaga. I would have to think about. But it's PCA because he's the everyday player. And it's not Happ, it's not Suzuki, it's not Horner or Swanson. It would be my order would be PCA, Steele, Imanaga. That would be the jerseys I would buy.
Agree. And you're right. Imanaga's probably there. It just I kind of went more off of you need more than 1 year. Like it wasn't The one guy I'm surprised it's on there is Suzuki, and that's because I think he's probably their best guy, but I don't feel like he's really has a unanimous approval rating. I think a lot of Cub fans from I talk to are more like, hey, I wish he could do this more. I wish he could do this, which I think is a testament to his ability, but I don't think he's at the level. Like I think most people identify more with Happ, but I could be wrong. I think I'm one of Suzuki's bigger fans. Mm. If I got a jersey of his, there'd be nothing wrong with that.
Well, he's an international draw.
Right. For sure.
I hope he could gain more status here, but I don't disagree with you. I don't think he has.
No, I don't think he's. Yeah. I don't think he's gotten the status here, and I do think he is a little bit under. I don't want to say underappreciated. That's not the right phrase. Okay. But I think he's better than when I talk to common Cub fans, like when I talk to like my dad, those type of Cub fans, and I say, like Suzuki is like their best hitter, and it's not that close. They kind of are like taken back by that. They're like, really? Why? And then I start explaining the metrics, and then my dad wants to move on. You know what I mean? Right. Can I?
Well, the players have said that too. His teammates have said it.
Can I offer one more perspective on this?
Yeah.
So we're talking about Q rating and face of the franchise in terms of Cub fans. In terms of the rest of the league, so like when the Dodgers fans think about the Cubs or whatever, do you think Council's up there? Like, do you think now that move from the Brewers to the Cubs, like when we've done crossovers or we've talked to some other hosts, the first thing they want to talk about to me is Council.
Well, he really led off the post-World Series news last year. He was everywhere. He was in every headline, every rumor. By the way, 2 of the 4 teams in the Final Four he talked with.
Yep.
The Mets and the Guardians.
Yep.
So this past season, in more ways than one, it just changed my view a lot on managers. I thought he had that brand equity and the extension around the game, but I just can't get there right now.
Yeah, no, I agree. As Shohei Ohtani, it's another homer.
He already hit one?
Yeah, he led off the game. So Judge and Ohtani have just homered like the last 25 minutes.
Clear our schedules for the World Series. I can't miss a pitch of that.
Well, let's save that.
I'm not even trying to be funny.
No, let's get to the best and worst.
We have to record all our shows before it.
Yeah, let's get to the best and worst. This is one of the greatest things happening in baseball, and it's not even on true cable television. One of the games started at 4.
All right, well then we will get to that. So
last
thing here.
Yeah, sorry, I got off topic.
Do the Cubs keep Nico Hoerner just because of this?
I don't think because of that, but I do think Nico Hoerner. I don't know. These conversations are so fun because I was talking about this on our show yesterday that I was doing by myself. There's no metrics for this, right? There's no WAR. There's no WRC plus. It's all subjective. There's no nothing we could say to prove it. I just feel like my gut and my perception tells me that like Hoerner is, has a little bit of, people like Ross. Ross is a great example. Like we got on Ross a ton, but I had so many people that were like, hey, you guys are too hard on Rossi. Like we love Rossi for what he meant and what he did. And I think there's like a tiny bit of that, nothing compared to Ross because Hoerner hasn't won anything here. But Hoerner, I think, has a little bit of that. He made his debut in 19, so he got a chance to play with Rizzo and those guys.
Right.
I didn't say anything just now. I just talked and said nothing. Let's move on.
Okay. Coming up next.
Bad segment for me.
Tom Ricketts spoke with the Chicago Tribune last week exclusively, in addition to the email that he put out last Friday morning. He did talk about Jed Hoyer's contract. We get to that detail next.
This episode is brought to you by Hims. Guys, sometimes intimate moments happen spontaneously, and we always want to be ready so we can perform in the bedroom. Hims provides access to treatments that can help you stay hard and last longer, giving you that boost of confidence so you can be ready whenever the mood strikes. Hims is changing men's healthcare by providing you with access to affordable sexual health treatments from the comfort of your couch. The process is 100% online, so there's no need for uncomfortable doctor's visits. Start your free online visit today at hims.com/lockedon. That's HIMS.com/lockedon for your personalized ED treatment options. The products mentioned are chewable compounded products which are not approved by or verified for safety or effectiveness by the FDA. Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions do apply. See website for details and important safety info. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plans. That's HIMS.com/lockedon for your personalized ED treatment options.
In an exclusive interview last week with the Chicago Tribune's Megan Montemurro, Cubs owner Tom Ricketts indicated that Jed Hoyer will not get an extension before the 2025 season begins. Hoyer is entering the final year of a 5-year deal. This is straight from the story. Asked whether he expects to discuss a contract extension with Hoyer over the offseason or anticipates wanting to see how 2025 plays out before approaching that, Ricketts said, quote, he's under contract. That's the way I see it. I think he's motivated. I know he's driven like everyone else here. He works really hard. I think Jed's going to have a great offseason and put us back in the playoffs next year, close quote. I don't think there's too many surprises here, Sam. There's no reason for him to be extended, really.
And I think it's actually a good situation because we've talked about this on this program. Yeah. Most of the time you don't want to have what they call a lame duck executive, right? Because a guy that knows he may lose his job might do something a little bit irrational to try and keep his job. But and Michael Cerami made this point on our show when he came on, Jed doesn't do that. So, and that's kind of his weakness. So maybe being in a situation where he needs to save his job or he needs to get this team in the playoffs may work to his advantage. I think the Cubs are in a pretty good position with prospect capital, where I don't think there's any one move where we can go, wow, that was selfish of Jed and that hurt us in the future. We've been set up now for a couple of years really good in the future. What we need anyway with these fans and this fan base and our show is craving for is a winner on the field. Not in AAA, AA, High A, Single A, Rookie Ball. We're looking for the MLB team right over on Clark and Addison. And so I think him being in that desperation mode where I think this is not factual by any means, but I'm going to say it. I think Jed needs to make the playoffs or he loses his job. I really think that that's what this year comes down to. And so I think that's going to help Jed Hoyer be more aggressive and think outside the box and do some things that, maybe he normally wouldn't do.
Yeah, I think there's two things to keep tabs on this offseason. Obviously, how is he going to get the major league team better? How could he increase their projection? Things like that. At the same time, what is going to happen with that surplus on the farm? Because I don't think to clear the decks would be appropriate, but I do think we're going to see him dip his toe into that capital and make some deals.
Yep.
I don't know. I mean, maybe he gets bitten by the bug, one night and he does, maybe get a little out of his comfort zone, even more than we anticipate. That would really be something. It would really be create a lot of buzz for us this winter. But I do think he's going to try to still achieve that balance while understanding, you know what, I am only under contract till October 1, 2025. And if I want to stay in this spot, something needs to happen. And, I would love to be a fly on the wall, in the office building there outside the stadium on Gallagher Way.
Not sure I would.
Because when Rick hands Hoyer, that number that he could go to this winter, what does that mean?
It's not an exciting group of guys.
Because Fangraphs already updated their payroll page, and with the guaranteed contracts, with the ARB raises and all that, the Cubs luxury tax payroll right now
is this including Bellinger or not?
Not including Bellinger.
Okay.
Is 170 M's, which means they're 70 to the threshold.
So if Bellinger opts in, they're basically about 40.
That's right. Which is why him opting out increases flexibility tenfold.
No, I felt that way. Can I comment on something earlier?
Yeah.
I'd like to coin. Can we have a phrase for the off season? And I think you just said it. You know how Jed talks about how we got to exceed projections to be great?
Yeah.
You use the word, let's just increase the projection. Locked On Cubs, we're in this offseason, we're just going to increase the projections. So instead of having to exceed them, instead of being at 85.5 and hoping we get to 88, we're just going to get to 88.
Yeah, I don't need 5 players to have career years, although that would be nice.
Locked On Cubs, we increase the projection.
Have to.
Not exceeds. We're increasing. So guess what? If everybody meets the projection, we're going to be a good baseball team. You can catch Matt Cozy and Sam Olber where we are going to increase the projection.
I love it. And we said the other day 86.5. Do we want to raise that by 1? Get a little greedy?
I think Vegas is tricky with that.
Okay.
So I think it's in our heads. Like last year, I predicted 87 wins. I want to predict 90 before the season goes. Okay. That's where I'm at. I think it's hard. I think if the Cubs last year, they were what? I bet them at 83.5, the over. Yeah. So if they can increase that, if it's 86.5, I'm not going to be too angry with that. I want to I know the team. I want to go, hey, I think this could win 90. Last year, I said 87. That's not good enough. Because guess what? Even if they hit my projection, they still would have been playing not postseason baseball.
Yeah, it was several games out. So, yeah. All right, coming up next, the return, I believe, since March, best and worst of the week. Stay tuned. Today's episode is brought to you by Prize Picks, the best place to get real money sports action with over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings. Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. Run your game all season long on Prize Picks. Want to play Prize Picks? You can do that alongside Drewski, Joe Budden, and MMA champ Sean O'Malley. You can now find community plays under the promo tab of the app to view entries for some of the biggest names in the Prize Picks community each and every week. Sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks is the best way to win real money this football season. Which players are going off? Which ones aren't? Make your picks in less than 60 seconds and turn your sports opinions into real money all season long on Prize Picks. Download the app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game. To close out the show today, we have best and worst of the week, and I think a lot of this is going to be MLB postseason. Sam?
My best and worst are the same thing.
Okay.
It's the MLB. It's best because this postseason is great. In the last 20 minutes, we've witnessed the two best players in baseball hit home runs for their team. Wow. Aaron Judge tied it up against the great Emmanuel Clase, who hasn't been so great this October. Stanton hit homers after him. Shohei Ohtani just hit his second home run in as many at-bats. Folks, it's, first of all, why is the Mets and Dodgers on FS1 and not Fox 32, the national television station? They had the
That's a great question.
They had the Masked Singer on last night. This is a great. Rob Manfred, what is happening to baseball? And I'm telling you, this upsets me. Okay, I've been doing a lot of research. I've watched a lot of football. It's not a better product than this. Football is so overrated. Monday night, I watched
me jacked.
Monday night, I watched Josh Allen versus Aaron Rodgers, and it was 3 hours of holding offense.
Yeah, it's boring.
Illegal formation, offense, illegal shift. Where in baseball, this is a great product. This should be ahead of all this stuff. What Shohei Ohtani's doing, what these guys are doing, and Manfred just sits there. The game's not marketed. Nobody cares. It's ridiculous. Why do you start games at 3-4 p.m.? Is it because of football? There's no NFL Friday night. There's nothing. Please don't tell me. Are they afraid to compete with Oregon and Purdue?
Should be 5 and 8 tomorrow.
This is a really special product, what we're seeing right now. And I know baseball has its faults. I know that. And I talk about it often on here with all the numbers and metrics. But it's not that much worse, if any, than these products that, NBA's coming up. Great. And
college football is 3.5 hours now.
This should be on everybody's to-do lists right now.
Totally.
And if you have basic cable in your home, you should be able to watch this game on Fox and not FS1. And instead you turn to Fox and it's the Masked Singer. Okay.
Yeah. Shout out to FS1, but well, no, I'm going to look into that. That bugs me. Why didn't they create inventory on the main Fox? Are they trying to promote the FS1 shows? I mean, I haven't even really seen promos during the games for that. I could see maybe an argument for something like that. Yeah, you would think they would have had a better strategy. And I'm not even saying Major League Baseball, but Fox, to really just boost all their products and everything like that. But man, what a postseason. I remember watching Yankees-Dodgers in the summer 2 nights in a row. One night they were on Fox. The next night they're on ESPN, Sunday Night Baseball. And I thought it was a different world. We cover a team every day, and I just thought it was a different world. Sam, we actually saw the Dodgers in person.
Yeah, we did. Back-to-back years for me.
And we almost saw the Yankees in person.
Yeah.
We were down the street from them. So, yeah, it's pretty cool.
Well, when the Yankees
let's
came
embrace it.
When the Yankees came in here, Aaron Judge wouldn't have been able to hit a homer if he started as a bat from shortstop with the way the wind with the way the wind was blowing in. So that wasn't exactly a fun weekend here in this city. I think there was like 3 runs scored. But yeah,
no.
I agree. I want baseball to make a return. And I think
it's happening though.
It is happening, but I think it should be happening even more, like what Ohtani and Judge are doing, man. Like, it's, I know it's not Sosa McGuire
special
home run race stuff, but it's like, is it not even, it's right there.
Wow.
You got a guy out west that had a 50-50 season and he's a pitcher. And you got a guy out east that he flirts with 60 plus home runs if he plays the whole year, every year.
Right. No, it's awesome. And the third best player hits before Judge.
Yeah, and then right in the middle of both those cities, you go to Chicago where, Hap walks a lot.
And who would you consider Betts or Freeman the fourth best player, or is there someone else?
Probably Witt.
Okay. Dang.
I'd probably say it's something like.
But they're in the top 10.
Oh yes, for
so
sure.
So the World Series is going to have
let's not
5 of the top 10, hopefully.
If it's Yankees Dodgers, which it looks like the Yankees are about to go up 3-0, but Dodgers are 1-1 here in the second.
Right, it's early.
If it's Yankees, I think Lindor's in the top 10.
Yes, I think so.
But yeah, Witt, Jose Ramirez is as well.
Yeah, well, no, it's star power in the final.
Jordan Alvarez would be in my top 10. I think he's just a brilliant, brilliant offensive player. Hey, did I tell you my home run derby idea before we get out of here?
I haven't heard this yet.
Okay, so here's my home run derby idea. It's pretty simple. Nobody cares how fast you do it. Nobody wants a timer on the home run derby.
We missed some of the homers.
That's not what the home run derby is supposed to be. It's not an endurance contest. It's not what baseball is. Babe Ruth wouldn't be good at that. What I want to see is the following name: Soto, Judge, Stanton, Ohtani, Alonso, Jordan Alvarez, Schwarber, and maybe one other guy, and just 10 outs, normal, hit it as far as you can.
Yeah, I don't care. Maybe Vlad Jr.
Yeah, something like that. Whoever the eighth guy is, whatever. Yeah. But I picked the guys, and I didn't pick the best guys, with Stanton and Schwarber. I picked the guys that hit the best, most majestic home runs. I want to watch, go to Coors Field, wherever, and just hit the ball 500 plus feet. That's what I want to see. I think that's fun.
That's awesome.
Not watching, Mookie Betts hit wall scraping home runs and, hit 8 in 2 minutes. Okay, that's great. I want to watch those guys hit moonshots, like when Sosa was hitting the ball out of Miller Park. That's what's best for the game. Alvarez, Schwarber. When Stanton hits the ball, I mean, it's different, okay? I want that.
Love it. Fun week of shows. We'll be back Sunday for Monday. Thank you so much for checking out this edition of Locked On Cubs. You give us 20 to 30 minutes. We'll give you all things Cubs with a laugh or two along the way. Be sure to hit subscribe on YouTube. Smash the like button for the algorithm and leave a 5-star review on Apple, Spotify, and everywhere you get your podcast. He's Sam Olber. I'm Matt Cozy. This is Locked On Cubs.
See ya.